Well, thank you very much. Welcome and hello to everyone that's here. Amichai, it's an honor for me to be sitting here with you. And let's jump right into this. So let's kick off this conversation talking about Israel-Hungary relations right now. From my vantage point, someone that's been to this country many times, I kind of see the current state of affairs as being very strong between Israel and Hungary. Hungary is routinely one of the only European countries that stands with Israel at the EU, the European Union. And in fact, Hungary was one of the first countries, I think, to send humanitarian aid to your country after October 7th. So there's a lot of trade, there's a lot of commerce that's happening between the nations. Now, I know you're playing a big role in a lot of this as well. So I want to ask you, from your perspective, why is this alliance so strong and so important to you and to the Israeli government?
So thank you, Brian. It's a privilege to be here with you. It's a privilege to be here with everyone. First and foremost, just to emphasize the role of Hungary and the friendship. We had the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We have the former president. We had just recently, this week, an effort made by Hungary to make sure that Hamas will be in the list of the organizations who use sexual violence. Unfortunately, we didn't succeed, but we had Hungary in our side. Hungary was the only European state to not condemning Israel for going into Rafah and fighting the battalions of Hamas to remain there. And its firm support for the state of Israel is something that we do not take for granted. I want to open with thank you for the Hungarian people, and thank you for the President and the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, for this support, strong support for the state of Israel. We highly appreciate it, and we think that this partnership is based on values, on mutual values, conservative values. It's not because we are a startup nation, nor because we developed the cherry tomato. It is because of the virtue of freedom, of faith, of family, of conservative tradition that unite us together. And also, why is it so important? This is so important because Europe is changing and Hungary is leading the change. Hungary is leading the change. It is true that when you look at what's going on in Europe, it's tough, it's complicated, but I believe that when you look at Britain, what's going on in the streets of London, British citizens, real British and real French and Swedish, they understand that this mob who is protesting in favor of Hamas is not just going against the Jews, is not just going against the state of Israel, he is going against them, their way of life, their belief. This is a war which is far more larger than just Israel. Israel is the forefront of the West. Israel is the forefront of the Judeo-Christian civilization. But most of the serious people here in the continent understand the challenge. And Hungary, and especially Viktor Orban, is leading the flag of national identity, of responsible immigration policy, of combating anti-Semitism and combating terror. And because of that, we are cherishing this friendship, we are working to make it stronger, and we believe in this path, and we want more people to join. And I think that as conservative, we have some challenge, and the challenges we look at ourselves in a particular way. We're not globalists to begin with, so it's more complicated for us to have these global conferences. But this is changing, and this is changing also because of the role of Viktor Orban. And this kind of conference last week at NatCom and today here in Budapest, bringing these conservative forces together, this is something which is new and it is crucial, and we're going to see it in the next election for the EU. I'm certain about it, and I'm optimistic, although we are facing a lot of challenges. But as we said, we believe in freedom, we believe in faith, we believe in truth. These values are eternal. These values shall win. Thank you. Thank you.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Let's shift for a second right now about the anti-Semitism that's really spreading like wildfire throughout all of the world, but especially in my home country, the United States of America. There are Jewish American college students that are being targeted because of their Judaism, because of their love and support of Israel. And earlier this week, Columbia, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Columbia University, one of the most prestigious universities in America, has closed their campus because Jewish students were under attack and they were not able to get it under control. And it's not just Columbia. Yale, a Jewish student was stabbed in the eye with a Palestinian flag. Thank God she is okay. But college campuses, Amichai, have become a hotbed for anti-Semitism and anti-Israel bias for a long time now. So speak to this troubling situation a little bit from an Israeli perspective.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you see Jewish students in America running for their lives?
So first and foremost, the situation is horrific. It is a very dangerous moment, not just for the Jews in America. This is a very dangerous moment for the American people. And when you look at the logo and the motto of Columbia University, the motto is from the Book of Psalms, "In your light we'll see light." And in the logo, you have the name of God. And how far Columbia University went from the core values that was the foundation of the American heritage, of the American culture, and to what we're seeing today. And by the way, same goes for Yale, with the Urim Vetumim of the high priest in Temple Beit Mikdash, the holiest place in Jerusalem. So this is something which is fascinating, extremely disturbing, but what's really going on? So we have two different movements with different motives, but with one thing which is common. We have the woke movement, progressive movement, neo-Marxist, that basically separate the world into two: oppressors, the white men, the Zionists, okay? And then you have BLM and the Palestinians, etc., etc., who are the oppressed. So it is very, very simple to follow. So you can make it very, very trendy. Their main weapon is the fact that most of the students have no idea about the real history of the Jewish people, of the Zionist movement, of the Palestinian national movement. Zero. So this is the woke agenda. And then the other movement is the Muslim Brotherhood. Extremely sophisticated, led by Qatar, Turkey of Erdogan, and many organizations who are operating in America, such as SJP, such as CARE, and other organizations. And they are working together. We call it the Green and Red Alliance. What is common for both the movement, the Muslim Brotherhood and the woke? Both of them are a totalitarian movement. Their enemy is the freedom of speech. Their enemy is the freedom of belief. They are enemies not just of the state of Israel. They are enemies not just of the Jewish people. They are an enemy for the Western civilization and the Judeo-Christian civilization. And this is very, very important, and we are in a very delicate moment. Now, there was an extremely important book, author Matthias Desmet, The Psychology of Totalitarianism. Why young Americans are being attracted to this bullshit Palestinian propaganda, or wearing kafia as a fashion way of expressing yourself. So he's saying, in order to have mass hypnosis, you need to have social isolation, feeling that there is no meaning in your life. As a result, anxiety and frustration. And this mass gathering in universities, this mob, it's like a drug, it's like the fentanyl. It provides the young people immediately friends, so-called friends, immediately they have a meaning. They are fighting for the freedom of the Palestinians alongside the rapist of Hamas. How noble. And this is the way it works. And in order to confront this ideology, we need to educate the younger generation, we need to have patience, and we need to have leaders who are willing to stand strongly against this form of terrorism. We are seeing how the Texas police is playing a very serious role. We are seeing and following the excellent Alice Stefanik from the Republican Party, who is going after the head of the universities and really pointing at them and saying, you need to be responsible for this lack of leadership, for this lack of ability to stand against anti-Semitism. And let's not forget, I'm going to finish with that, what we saw in the Congress with the leaders of Harvard, Penn, MIT, refusing to condemn loud and clear, calling for genocide of the Jewish people. This was, I think, one of the most horrific moments in the war and one of the most important in terms of the gravity of anti-Semitism in America, because this is coming straight from top, straight from the elite, woke, progressive, post-nationalist elite. And this is something which is very, very significant.
You made some very good points, and I just want to underscore one of your points to the audience here. When you said that these pro-Hamas supporters, these radical Muslims, it is not just an attack on the Jewish people.
No, not at all.
It is an attack on Judeo-Christian values, and what starts with the Jews, ladies and gentlemen, does not end with the Jews. So let's shift very quickly to your role with the government of Israel. You are
maybe one more point.
Of course, please.
Why is it against Judeo-Christian values? Because Judeo-Christian values totally collides with the woke ideology.
Yeah.
We should look at the woke ideology as a religion, as a competitive, dangerous religion. Instead of believing in a transcendent truth, in their religion, there is no truth. Everything is relative. There is no difference between Hamas or the IDF. There is no difference between ISIS or the US. It's all on the same level. No truth. No truth meaning no right and wrong. This is a total collapse of moral clarity, of moral compass. That's the heart of the collision. Second, we cherish the family. They hate the family. They see the family as a threat, because with the family, and we are now in the middle of Passover, in Passover you deliver from one generation to the next generation. The greatest mitzvah of Passover is Vehigadeta lebincha, tell your son. Pass the story on, pass the tradition, pass the torch. They hate it. They believe in here and now. It's an animal way of thinking. Here and now. My needs, right now. No past, no future, no family, no tradition. And third, it's the idea of nation state. They want to seek global power. Just like the Muslim Brotherhood, it's all about global power. They don't believe in the idea of national identity. And Judaism and Judeo-Christian values, and this is what we're here for, national identity. We cherish the differences. We praise the differences. We want Hungary to be Hungary, and Spain to be Spain, and Poland to be Poland. We don't want John Lennon, Imagine, Nightmare to become alive. We don't want to be citizen of the world. We want to be citizen of national states. Thank you.
And America be America.
And America be America.
So, first of all, we should have started off by saying Hag Pesach Sameach to each other.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover.
For everyone who celebrates.
Yes, and everyone else as well. Let's quickly talk about your role as the Minister of Diaspora Affairs, where you're responsible for building and growing relations with the Jewish community all throughout the world. Here in Hungary, one of Europe's largest Jewish communities is right here in Budapest and throughout the country of Hungary. How are your efforts going thus far here in Hungary, and how do you think Jews are treated here in Hungary? Are they safe here? Are they thriving? Do they love being here? What's your opinion?
So here in Hungary, we have around 100,000 Jews who are living here, a prosperous community, one of the safest capital for Jewish minority all across Europe. And this is first and foremost, and we cherish, and we know the history. We had a tough history in this city. We have a tough history, but we are looking at the present and what's going on now. And due to a very responsible immigration policy, and due to the policy of zero tolerance for anti-Semitism, you can walk in the streets of Budapest on Shabbat evening. You can wear a yarmulke. No one will look at you as if something is wrong. You can go to synagogue. You can celebrate. The community has the support coming from the government, and we highly appreciate it. And now to compare it with London, last week, a Jew wants to cross the street. He made a sin. He wears a yarmulke. And the police officer saying, you are openly Jewish. And if you will not walk away, we will arrest you. For what? For being openly Jewish. This is the multiculturalism of Sadiq Khan, who play it nicely, but we all know his true nature. Muslim Brotherhood, enemy of Western civilization. Period.
So let's wrap up our Q&A here talking about the red line that the Islamic Republic of Iran crossed a couple weekends ago. They sent hundreds of suicide drones, cruise missiles, mid-range ICBMs from Iranian soil into Israel. That's never happened before. Now, thankfully, the damage was not much worse, in large parts because of Israel's superiority as a military, but also because of support from the Americans, the British, the French, the Emiratis, the Saudis, and the Jordanians. I don't think the Iranians were expecting those three Arab countries. But Israel played some really amazing defense. But we all know that terrorists, whether it's a state like Iran or Hamas or Hezbollah, the Houthis, they don't respect defense. They respect offense. They respect strength. Tell us a little bit more from your perspective about maybe what's next when it comes to Israel and the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Sure. This is a crucial issue. First and foremost, it's very, very important to understand that the attack on October 7, that Iran made it clear by their own leaders, they said it. They were the one behind October 7, not just Hamas. And they launched this terror, barbaric attack because of one main reason. They were terrified that there will be normalization with Saudi Arabia. This attack was an attack against peace. And it's very, very important to emphasize we have nothing against Muslim tolerant states such as Saudi Arabia. The opposite. We want to be friends with the Saudis. We want peace in our region. We already had peace thanks to Trump and his efforts on the Abraham Accords with the UAE, with Bahrain, with Morocco. And no one will stop us from bringing peace to the Middle East. Now Iran, they want to bring suffering and destruction. Everywhere they touches, you have war. Everywhere they touch it, you have people who are suffering. Yemen, Lebanon, there is no Lebanon. Lebanon is Hezbollah. There is no Yemen. Yemen is the Houthis, another Iranian militia. There is no free trade on the Red Sea because of Iran. There is no Iraq because of Iranian militias. And if you won't stop them now, there will be no Jordan and no other countries in the Middle East. They are seeking for total power. This is part of their ideology. They call it in Persian Sudud al-Inqilab, to expand and export the revolution. That's their goal. They are big enemies of Western civilization, but more, they are the enemies of their own people. And all of us, every country who cherish freedom, should support the opposition, should support Iranian patriots, especially women, who are being terrorized in the street for not wearing a burqa. And we need to support these people on social media. We need leaders to speak out loud against Khamenei and his terror regime. And bear no mistakes. Business is open with Iran. And we will hunt this enemy, and we will fight them. We will fight the militias in Gaza and in Lebanon, and we will win. And we will win. And they will finish like any other totalitarian regime in the region. They will finish like Saddam Hussein. We all remember how he finished. They will finish like Gaddafi. And it's not going to be our job. Iranian patriots will retake their country. Iran will be free. I hope the students in America can hear us. Shout, Iran will be free, instead of shouting, Palestine will be free. This nonsense. Thank you.
Sure. So we're going to wrap up here, Amichai. But before we close, I would be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to tell this audience, everyone that's watching around the world, that there still are 130 some odd Israelis that are being held hostage, have been held hostage for over 6 months now.
Yeah.
We pray for their return. And also there's a role that the Qataris are playing with all this as the lead negotiator. So I want to give you a couple minutes here to close our talk about those two issues and maybe anything else you'd like to address.
So some may forget, but we haven't forgotten. 133 hostages, no visit from the Red Cross, no medical supply, no food, no rules, nothing. We saw the video yesterday of Hersh Goldberg Polin that I wish we can bring soon back home, him and all the other hostages. And in order to bring the hostages back, and this is the only reason why we saw this video yesterday, because of the preparation on the ground for the operation in Rafah, and the fact that there was such a high pressure on Israel from its allies not to operate in Rafah, it caused a major damage to our efforts to bring the hostages. So I'm hoping that the lesson will be made, and we will have the option to go with full force to eliminate Hamas in Rafah and to create the conditions to bring the hostages back home. And one last point about Qatar. Qatar is the leader of Muslim Brotherhood, enemy of Western civilization, big enemy, sophisticated enemy, sponsoring mosques, radicalized, sponsoring the most powerful and effective jihadist media platform, Al Jazeera, in Spanish, in English, all across the globe. Jihadist propaganda, 24/7 of fake news of Hamas and other terror groups. Qatar is no friend, and Qatar cannot be a mediator. We saw 2 days ago a representative, formal representative of Qatar, saying in the Arab League discussions, open discussions, cameras are on, microphones are on, saying October 7 is just the beginning. We're going to eliminate the Jews. This is the true nature of Qatar. No business with Qatar, no friendship with Qatar. This is crucial to understand. We need to have another mediator. We cannot continue to work with Qatar.
Well, thank you for all of your thoughts and your comments on this. I think I speak for a lot of people in the audience here and also for a lot of the Jewish American community when I say, may your hostages, may the Israelis that are being held hostage come home soon. May you destroy Hamas once and for all. Ladies and gentlemen, Amichai Chikli, thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you.